Howdy y'all. Today I'm going to be showing you a very simple method to turn Google Sheets into a perfect tool for memorization. You can use this method for new vocab, you could use it to help memorize lines of a speech or stanzas of poetry. It's very versatile. And best of all, it only takes a minute to set up, it's infinitely expandable, and 100% free. So let's jump into it. So to start, of course, you're going to actually need a list of things that you are trying to learn. In this example, we're using a list of frequently used verbs in Latin. Once we have our list and it's formatted how we like it, we're going to go ahead and create a duplicate down here, just like that. And we're going to name this second sheet Key. I'm going to go ahead and rename this first sheet Quiz. And now, while we're on the quiz sheet, we're going to go ahead and select all of the cells that we want to be able to drill ourselves on. So if I was just going to be studying the Latin, I could just select all the Latin terms, but to make things easy and to make it a little bit more flexible, I'm going to go ahead and just do Control A and select all of these. So now I can go up here where it says Format, go down here, it says Conditional Formatting. This will open up a panel on the right. We are going to enter this drop-down menu where it says Custom Formula Is. We'll click that and we'll paste this command down into it. This will be down in the description. You should be able to just Control C, Control V, this right in here, and it should work perfectly as long as you named your key sheet Key. Now, if you named it something else, just make sure that this corresponds. You do need that exclamation mark, so make sure that's in there. And make sure that this cell corresponds with the upper left-hand corner of your information. I have my list just in the far left, upper left-hand corner of this Google Sheet, so A1 is perfect. If you want a different color, if you want things to show up blue when they're correct, feel free. I'm going to leave it as a nice green. Really, that's all you need to do. We can go ahead and just start quizzing ourselves right away if that's what we want. So as you can tell, when I write something that's incorrect, so maybe blah, blah, nothing's going to happen, okay? But if I put the correct term, futurum, then it turns green. So now we can, just right away start quizzing ourselves. Now, if we want to take this, up a step and make things a little bit more aesthetic, a little bit more visually appealing, here are a couple more conditional formatting rules that I like to add just to make things a little bit nicer. So once again, we're going to select all cells. We're going to go over here where it says conditional format rules, and we're going to hit add another rule. So I want incorrect answers to show up as red. So let's add this. And this time we don't need to change this. So we can leave this as is not empty. So if the cell is not empty, we'll go ahead and make it turn red. The important thing is to make sure that this second rule is below that first rule. If it is above it, then it's going to prioritize things differently and it's just going to turn everything red. And apparently I can't click on 3 dots, but if you can't, oh my God. See, okay. So it's very important what order these rules are in. So just make sure that your first one with the fancy command is on top. So now if we put in, so if I need to put in the verb for give, and I think it's do, dari, daddy, datum, that's incorrect, okay? But if I go do, dare, dedi, datum, now it's green. Now I'm going to go ahead and add one more rule. Now, once again, have all the cells selected. I'm going to add another rule. I'm going to change this one from is not empty to is empty, and I'm going to change the color to gray. That's going to make all the empty spaces gray. I don't know, it's just nice. One last thing I do like to add is when we hop over to the key, sometimes, it can be kind of tricky to figure out what section you're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these, and we're going to add a conditional formatting rule to this key sheet. Now it's going to be exactly the same as the command we pasted in on the other sheet, except we are going to change that the name. So instead of referencing the key sheet, we want this to reference the quiz sheet. So make sure you leave that exclamation mark in there and then just change it to the first one. So this is going to allow us to kind of have a better sense of where we are when we're working. So now it's like you can tell that I've correctly answered these first 5, and all of the ones that are popping up as white I'm still working on. This can just be helpful for finding yourself if you do have to hop over and check to make sure if you're struggling. Lots of times I like to work in the evening when it's darker outside, and all this bright white cells, it can be kind of painful on the eyes. So I like to go ahead and select all of these white cells over here. We'll just scroll down to 300, 500, I don't know. Select all of these, and we can go ahead and just turn these black. So this will make things a little bit just less intense on our eyes when we're studying if it's a little dim in our room. And one thing that I like to do that can help me from having to keep switching in between the quiz and the key when I'm learning new words and I don't quite have them down. One thing I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and select all of our Latin terms. I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to go over here to our F row, and I'm going to go ahead and paste them. Whoops, I'm going to go ahead and paste them without value. So Control Shift V. So boom. So this way, if I'm really struggling what the verb for do or to make is, you know, and I just can't quite get it, and I don't want to keep switching in between here to check, what I can do, I can just select this box, change the font color, you know, change it to anything you want. Green, I mean, you know, that color, green, change it to, you know, something like gold. And this way we can kind of peek over, and that can help us, you know, figure out and get the muscle memory of writing out whatever that is. So just a little tip. Of course, none of it's really necessary, but I like it. Jesus Christ.